All right. Story number two. All right, I went back and forth on whether or not I was going to cover this, but Jaguar Wright went on Piers Morgan. Piers Morgan had Jaguar Wright on, and then he had DJ Vlad, and then he had lawyer for one of Diddy's accusers, Ariel Mitchell Kidd. Okay, and they're talking about the Diddy case, of course. Now, Jaguar Wright has, first of all, she's an incredibly talented artist. I got to say that. I think it's, regardless of her public persona in recent years, Jaguar Wright can sing. She's had a very talented career. She had a solo album, which I used to rock all the time, probably back in college. She was a neo-soul artist. She worked with The Roots heavily. She's actually singing on Jay-Z's Unplugged, where he did the Blueprint. I guess he did some other songs too, but he did the Blueprint live. And she's singing on that album, on the Unplugged album. So, she's known Jay-Z for a long time. I've heard rumors. I don't want to say rumors. I've had people tell me that there was a point in time Roc Nation was shopping her around or wanting to work with her, wanting to put her in an Angie Stone type position at, different points in the history of that company. So, she does have a relationship with Roc Nation. She does have an impact that she's made in music. Okay. And she is wildly talented. Now, over the past few years, Jaguar Wright has been giving a number of interviews and lives where she is calling out all kinds of names across the music industry. All kinds of names around a lot of very seedy, dark topics. And recently, with Diddy being in custody, taken into custody, and charged federally and now civilly, a lot of people are looking at Jaguar Wright as saying, as someone who was right all along when most people weren't saying anything. And in this case, when the Diddy case, that seems to be the case. Now, there's a lot of people who call her all kinds of names, right? But most of her conversations have been online platforms primarily, or her own live streams. Most of her conversations have lived in that space. This week, she went on Piers Morgan, which is one of the biggest, news guys, news reporters. I'm not sure what to call him. Is he a talking head? I don't know. But Piers Morgan is one of the biggest voices in the world on a number of topics. And he had Jaguar Wright on. And Jaguar Wright talked about the Diddy situation, but pivoted heavily to making wild allegations about Jay-Z and Beyonce, the type of allegations I hope she's super lawyered up for. And it went incredibly viral, over the past 2 days. So let's take a look at it, and we'll take a look at a couple of clips here. This first part right here is how dangerous is Diddy?
The sex workers that I have worked with throughout the years and continue to work with even to this day have worn hidden cameras. I have my own tapes. I've seen what they do. The ritualistic behaviors, the drugging, putting girls in the suitcases, dumping them in alleyways. It's horrifying. And it's all done under the protection of, this is going to be paid off. There's another NDA. This is going to be, it's terrible.
She says she has her own tapes. Her own tapes. There's been a lot of reports about Diddy's tapes. She says she has her own tapes. Now, I can't obviously verify whether that's true or not. I just wonder why. I wonder what she plans to do with them and why she hasn't done anything with them, if this is the case.
It seems to have been something that a lot of people knew about, but people were simply too scared to talk about.
Everyone knows. And every person that's sitting there trying to act surprised knows very well. The whole point of this, like Cat Williams said when he sat with Shay Shay earlier this year, the whole point of this is for them in a coordinated effort to pretend like none of it is real for the public's perception. But everyone knows what's going on, and it's been going on for years. It's been going on before Diddy. See, people keep looking at him like he...
That's something that Suge Knight said in his conversation with Chris Cuomo. We covered that here on the channel as well. I mean, the music industry is an industry started by literal gangsters.
He's the Sputnik that came out of nowhere. This is someone who was designed to be what he is. We got to stop making ditties. And if we're going to do that, then we got to go back. We got to go back to even further, the mentors of these people. Because Diddy was taught how to do what he does systematically, and Clive Davis has been his greatest teacher.
See, again, I hope Jaguar Wright is lawyered up. I hope she is lawyered up. You know, these are wild allegations, very specific allegations. There's more. Let's take a look at another clip here.
How many victims potentially do you think there could be?
Thousands. Thousands. I've talked to hundreds that I deal with still myself. I have 3 victims right now who are willing to give testimony about not only what Mr. Carter has done to them, but his wife as well. They're a nasty little couple. They do nasty things.
What do you think happened with Kim Porter?
Keeping people against their will. Putting people on planes while they're unconscious, just like Aaliyah got on that plane. Unconscious. There's a lot of things that people don't want to talk about, Piers.
Listen, like I said, Jay-Z and Beyonce are not here, unfortunately, to respond to that.
I know. I'm just being honest with you.
You're perfectly entitled to your views, obviously. Kim Porter,
yes.
A new book claims that Diddy may have been involved in her early death. What do you think of that?
Now, the book that they're referencing here has recently been pulled off Amazon. Now, you know, I believe one of the reasons they pulled it off Amazon was because the nature of the conversation, and I think obviously the validity of those claims has been called into question. But that is something to keep in mind too. This book says a lot of wild things. I've had a lot of people send me stuff from this book before it published, before it was released. And, you know, that's, to me, from my point of view, that falls into the realm of conversation where I don't know how anyone I couldn't verify it. I couldn't verify whether those allegations were true or not. So I decided not to report on those things. But just to let you know, the book that they're referring to has been removed from Amazon.
I think people should really look into that more. I am friends with Albie Shore. I love him. I love his children. I knew Kim. We used to all hang out together at the Kit Kat Club back in the mid-90s when Diddy was first starting his reign. I watched that whole thing happen. And everything that Albert has been through, every attempt on his life that has been ignored by the authorities, it all leads back to Diddy, and everyone knows it. The wiretapping of the phones, putting air tag on children during visits. These are normal practices that these people do.
Jaguar, I've got to leave it there.
Jaguar. I guess that's how you pronounce it in the UK. I think I've noticed that with the car, Jaguar. Yeah. Man, whenever the settlers got over here, they just completely changed the English language. They replaced all the S's, threw in some Z's, dropped a bunch of U's. It's all happening.
I really appreciate you joining me. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. And thank you for caring.
I do.
That is a very crazy list of allegations. I'm not saying crazy as if I have any insight onto what is possible in this case that continues to spiral. this Diddy case is going rapidly into every level of conspiratorial or unbelievable or shockingly true. I mean, we'll have to see how it plays out in the court system. We'll see if he's convicted. Obviously, he's innocent until proven guilty. He is in custody. And when I say shockingly true, was I think a lot of us heard rumors of abuse between Diddy and Cassie, and then we saw the CNN video. All right, so this story is all over the place. We're going to touch on a couple of other tentacles that are reaching out right now that have made a lot of news in the past 2 days. But here comes DJ Vlad. Here's DJ Vlad's reaction to this.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, I'm joined now by the host of Vlad TV, DJ Vlad. DJ Vlad, I mean, it's pretty horrifying listening to these testimonies. What did you make of what you just heard?
Well, Jaguar Wright is known to be a conspiracy theorist. I don't really co-sign anything that she says. I've never had her on my show, and I don't have any plans to have her on my show.
You don't believe her?
She's got an album in 20 years, and a lot of this stuff is just stuff she's heard, things she's making up, and so forth. I'm not saying.
See, you know, what Vlad is saying, a lot of people have been saying. A lot of people have been saying the same thing, right? Saying that she's a conspiracy theorist. The way he tagged the fact that she hasn't had an album in 20 years to that comment, you know, it feels like a way to diminish what she's saying ultimately. And because she hasn't had music success, that's weird to me. But Vlad isn't saying something that a lot of people have been saying. I've personally never covered anything Jaguar Wright said either because it can't be corroborated. And I'm covering this today because she's on Piers Morgan. She has been platformed in a place that most people, just generally speaking, never get to reach as many people as Piers Morgan reaches.
Saying that there aren't serious things that Diddy may have done, but yeah, I can't co-sign anything that
says he can't co-sign anything that Jaguar Wright's saying. Now, in that same interview, right? So they also had an attorney, Ariel Mitchell Kidd, who is a lawyer for one of Diddy's accusers. So she came right on right after DJ Vlad. This is such an oddball segment here on Piers Morgan. You got Jaguar Wright, DJ Vlad, and a lawyer for one of Diddy's accusers. Now listen to how she responds to DJ Vlad.
Diddy's alleged victims. Thank you very much indeed for joining me. There are so many people coming forward now with allegations about Diddy. What do you think about the scale of this case?
Well, before I get into that, I kind of want to address the prior two panelists. First with Mrs. Jaguar Wright. She said a lot of things that were very jarring in her explanation of what she saw and had firsthand accounts on. My concern for her, she's saying a lot of things that could be considered libelous. Right. And I would suggest that she contacts an attorney, if only to vet the information she has or purports to have from other victims. At least they can protect her, and then they can also do their due diligence, the attorneys, to make sure that the information she's receiving is accurate outside of the things that she knows and may have proof of.
She said she had her own tapes. Again, Jaguar Wright says she had her own tapes, that's crazy. I mean, it's a crazy thought.
I was very concerned about some of the things that she had said in her prior segment. I also want to address Mr. Vlad, who I know to be a culture vulture, who takes from the Black community and doesn't give back and puts artists in situations where then they are indicted by the police. And he's very much so what we call police type investigation in the Black community. And for him to repudiate what Mrs. Wright has said, I thought was completely out of line. He can say he doesn't agree, which is fine. But for him to be someone who constantly uses the Black community and uses them as a means for his platform, I thought that was very inconsiderate and unprofessional. So look at this.
Look at this segment. Look at this segment. You've got Jaguar Wright, DJ Vlad, and lawyer Ariel Mitchell Kidd. And with the Jaguar talks, Vlad takes shots at Jaguar. He says what he says. Ariel talks, says, Jaguar, you need to get a lawyer. And oh, by the way, Vlad's a culture vulture. I mean, this is Piers Morgan. This is what Piers Morgan platformed around this conversation. I mean, whether or not anyone is what they're saying is true or not, I think most of us can't verify any of this, and we won't find out, at least legally, how this plays out until the trial ends. A lot of this stuff is super speculative. I think that should go without saying. But look at the level of discord that's taking place in this one segment. That's how wide-reaching, that's how crazy, new developments have been around this Diddy trial. One of the things that people continue to talk about is how many people might be on the Diddy tapes, or how many people are connected to a lot of these allegations. Tony Busby basically said, yeah, we know who you are. You guys might as well just come forward. Any associates of Diddy's over the past 30 years, you might as well just come forward. They said they went from 3,000 accusers. They had 3,000 leads. They landed on 120 accusers, which they plan to file 120 different lawsuits, 60 men, 60 women, painting Diddy as an equal opportunity abuser. And they're not doing a class action. They want to do every individual case. I really can't even imagine the supply chain of a law firm or multiple law firms having to deal with that. And at the same time, none of the cases have been filed. So if there's any lawyers in the audience who have a better understanding of that, I would love to see your comments around this, because there's a lot of ways to. There's just the nature of where we are has a lot of people saying a lot of different things. And I also know that there's a lot of gamesmanship in the legal field. Jaguar Wright ends up going on goes on Star's show. I'll play a quick clip of this, but just to show you the reactions that she's receiving from her appearance. There's a lot of people who, like Vlad mentioned, like eye colored. There's a lot of people who view her as a conspiracy theorist because of she's been saying these things for years. And right now, she really does look like she was right about Diddy. It looks like she was correct. At bare minimum, because we saw the clip from CNN. Bare minimum, we saw the CNN video. Everything else is allegations, but bare minimum, we saw the CNN video. So she's looking like she might have been correct. So she went on Star, and it got ugly. I'm not going to play this whole thing, but this got ugly. I'll give you a taste of it. So for context, Jaguar Wright called in. Star was reporting on what he's seen from his perspective, and she called in. So Vlad and Jaguar Wright went back and forth, and this was a mess. This was a mess all the way around. And I understand this is a high profile case of darkness, and just the effect, the impact this Piers Morgan conversation had. This is how big Piers Morgan's platform is. Yeah. But it's not just Piers Morgan. So as we've seen over the past week, Gloria Allred, she's a noted lawyer. She helps a lot of victims of abuse of different kinds, high profile lawyer. And same thing with Tony Busby, the Busby law firm. Okay, so this segment here from Angela Yee's show, Way Up with Angela Yee, brings those two together and implicates, or makes allegations, rather, against Jay Prince.
All right, now the thing about Big Joe is he is very adamant that he is not in it.
He's not going.
Some people would be like, "Oh, did a lawyer?"
So Big Joe is Joseph Sherman. He was a one-time bodyguard for Diddy. He was implicated he was one of Gloria Allred's new clients, accused him of R-ing her with Diddy. Joseph Sherman he was on a news segment talking like, hey, I've never seen this woman. He's not taking the silent lawyer route. He has lawyers, don't get me wrong, but he is outwardly like, no, this is crazy, because he ended up named in her lawsuit. He was named in her lawsuit. He was like, no, I do not know that. And so that's what they're talking about now. They'll go into more detail.
Tell you not to say anything. He's like, I don't care. I didn't do it. Yeah. I'm not there. He has text messages between them that he wants to make sure that people know about and can see, because from the text messages, and Mano, you know what it says, because you know.
Right, the DMs that she sent him.
Mm-hmm. Basically, it seems like she's trying to confirm that he worked with Puff, and then also confirm that there was a video shown on a camcorder. And he's like, and she also says, if you're not the same person, then I apologize, she said. So it seems like she's not sure if Big Joe was the person that she's alleging is on this tape.
Seems like she's not sure.
Now, Big Joe called us because, you know, clearly this is something that if you feel that you're being wrongly accused of something, you're going to defend yourself.
Saying it loud.
To the utmost. And here's what he had to say about this alleged tape and the conversation with Dahlia Graves.
Not only did she DM me, she tried to guide me through the DMs, if you read them. Right. She tried to explain to me, all I need you to do is write a statement like Barnes did, like other people did. I need you to write a statement and I'll keep you out. I said, keep me out of what? But then she got into the threats. Then she brought up, well, me and Mr. J. Prince will be down there.
All right. Now, I don't know what J. Prince has to do with anything.
Right.
But
I don't know what J. Prince has to do with anything either. Now, this tweet says Diddy's ex-bodyguard, Joseph Sherman, Big Joe, who's currently being accused of R by a Diddy accuser, alleges J. Prince is behind Houston lawyer Tony Busby's 120 Diddy accusers as retaliation for Diddy slapping Drake. Okay. Now, that happened a long time ago. That had to be 2015. Right. Now, I asked the source at Rap-A-Lot, okay? I asked the source over there what they think, okay? And they said, straight cap, this is clout chasing. Diddy got paid back for the Drake slap right after the infamous courtesy call in Miami. So Diddy, apparently that was been settled since then. Why would Big J take part in tearing down Puff? There's no logic in that. Plus, Drake ain't never raised his voice to Jay or showed any disrespect. His career would have tragically ended years ago if that were the case. Okay. And so I asked, well, how was it taken care of? How was that taken care of in Miami? He says, I can't go into specifics, but it was handled and Jay checked him in Miami. If you notice, Diddy never comes to Texas or Houston. He used to be tight with Tony Draper, but he stole his group 8 Ball and MJG. So just an update. That's what I got from Rap-A-Lot. So I'm not sure what Joseph Sherman, Big Joe, is talking about. If we're playing this fair, I don't think anyone would admit to this allegation. I don't think this is something that people would, I'm the one that sent Tony Busby to go get those 120 people to all target Diddy. I don't know if anybody would ever admit to that, but I honestly don't believe this is something that Jay Prince would do from my position, my perspective. The clip continues.
You had a question for him.
Absolutely.
Okay.
What he got to do with this, though?
It was brought to my attention later on that Jay Prince, something I don't know about, had a beef with Puffy about slapping Drake. And Drake was calling Jay Prince, going off of him for not taking up for him against Puffy. And I'm like, that's none of my business, honestly. Yeah. After listening and people calling me, explaining to me that Jay Prince's lawyer is the one who put them 100 people together, I think Jay Prince is one of the main culprits behind slandering and trying to destroy Puff's character.
Now, these are all allegations. We don't know what's true and what's
not.
not.
The lawyer thing, right? What?
Super allegations. And so another quote from my source says, all that is false. That is not his lawyer. Ken Schaefer is the lawyer for Jay Prince. Tony Busby is the lawyer that represented all those women who came against Deshaun Watson in his SA assault civil case. Tony Busby also represents the Houston Texans owner. So that's, apparently that's not even Jay Prince's lawyer. Now, keeping it down the middle, I guess you could motivate other people to do things, so that it doesn't immediately tie back to you. But again, I just think that this whole case and all of the tentacles around this are spiraling. It's getting crazy out here with everything around this Diddy case. And we're a week in, 2 weeks in. I don't know when that trial date is, but it's already this ugly. So yeah, these are the updates around this case. I think this is going to go on for a very long time, and we'll have to see how this all plays out once the smoke clears. But the key takeaways here are, this is the past 2 days of conversations around Diddy and the allegations against him, and we're 2 weeks in, and I think this is going to keep getting ugly until the trial is over, and possibly well after that too. Let me know what you guys think about all this. My name is Justin Hunt. Like, subscribe to the channel, follow at The Company Man on everything. It's all happening.
Justin Hunt is here, it's all happening. Justin Hunt is here, it's all happening. The mathematical breakdown of this mighty game of rap we in. It's boom bapping. Systematical culture views us radical, it's all happening. Shaking hands and dapping it. Life through the lens of hip hop, from trip hop to yes, y'all, you don't stop, you don't stop. Justin Hunt is here, it's all happening. It's all happening, yes, it's all happening. Justin Hunt is here, it's all happening. It's all happening, yes, it's all happening.